Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Jake, and this is Press to Play Rewind for the world of film this week. I've got two awesome guys here with me today. Forrest, as usual, he's here. Thanks for being back, man. We got some exciting stuff to talk about.
Yes, we do. I appreciate you having me on again.
Yes, and you will remember him from the last time we talked about our first story here, being Tron. Spoiler alert. Mr. Ian is here as well. Ian, how you doing? It's good to have you back.
I'm great. It's good to be here.
God, well, I hope you're excited. Let's just jump right into it because, like I said, last time, Ian, that you were on, we were talking about the possibility of Tron 3 actually happening. Could it happen? Could it come to Disney Plus? We don't know. We were like, we'd love to see it, but it looks like we can stop wishing because earlier this week, we got word from Deadline that Tron 3 has found its director in a guy named Garth Davis. So let me just read this straight from the Deadline article and just see what we got here. So he says, Davis has been better known for his smaller art house films over the years, like 2018's Mary Magdalene, I think it is. I don't know. And his critically acclaimed 2016 drama Lion, which received 6 Oscar nominations, including one for Best Picture. Tron would mark Davis's first tentpole, and though he is not known for big budget projects, insiders say that Davis has aggressively pursued the job, eventually winning over the execs. So, full disclosure, I haven't seen any of this guy's movies at all, so I can't personally speak to his directing skills, but to hear that he's been nominated for multiple awards, including a Best Picture Oscar, makes me feel pretty good about him coming onto Tron to direct it, and it sounds like he's been pushing Disney to do this for some time now, which is pretty cool because I that makes me feel like he has some kind of vision or idea for it. So that's pretty good to hear. And no, we didn't hear if this film was actually going to come to theaters or Disney Plus. You know, that was the whole thing last time, is Disney Plus might give an avenue for this to happen. We don't know where this is going to show up yet, but we did get one interesting other piece of information, and that is that Jared Leto is currently set to star in the film. Now, I'm not a huge Leto fan, just in general, but you know he's a solid actor. I can be aware of that. You know, he's an Oscar nominated, Oscar award winning actor, and I don't think ever adding that much talent is a bad thing to a project. I'm really excited to see what he's got in Morbius. So even though I haven't personally loved him and everything I've seen, I'm excited to see what he's got coming out, and I don't think it's a bad thing to have him on this movie. So I do wonder, though, if casting Jared Leto and him saying that that's the first name we're hearing attached to this thing and he's starring, I wonder if that means it's going to be kind of a spin-off different direction, or if this is going to be a continuation of Tron Legacy. Ian, because you were here last time talking about the possibility of this even happening, you've heard all of this news about Tron 3 now. It's actually happening. What are your thoughts about this?
I'm excited for it, except for the fight with Jared Leto. I really don't like him. But it sounds like this director, if he's really pushing for it, then that probably means he has like a big passion for Tron. So we should be in some good hands. And maybe we'll get some more Daft Punk songs in the movie,
Yes,
which would be
please.
great.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And you know, that was something we talked about last time too, is the head over at Music was like, if we're doing Tron 3, the first step is getting Daft Punk on board.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be pretty surprised if we didn't get Daft Punk back for this. I think it'll be a while until we hear anything about that, but I'll be pretty shocked if we don't get Daft Punk doing the score and the soundtrack again for this one. Forrest, you've heard all the news about Tron 3. How do you feel now that it's actually confirmed, it's actually happening, and how do you feel about Jared Leto being the star?
This is honestly something I've been hoping for what is it now, a decade? After we went and saw Tron Legacy together in theaters, like opening night, and because we watched Tron, the first Tron, earlier in that day, because we were so excited. So I'm glad that it's getting the love that it deserves, because Tron is a fantastic like franchise or kind of a world to build on. Yeah, really is. It's like just take what they were imagining in the 80s but use modern day stuff, and it's fantastic. So you know, I haven't seen a lot of Jared Leto's stuff. He's a pretty decent actor from what I know. I know the Joker role was not great, but that's, I mean, the character he was given, he did a good job with what he had. You know, I like his music, but So I jury's still out on Jared Leto. I think he could be decent in this. I just hope they keep Jeff Bridges in some capacity because
absolutely.
he's like the face of it. So, and with these small independent directors where they have this vision and they're pushing really hard for a movie like this, I would think that a lot of the time that surprises you. They can be fantastic movies or they can be okay movies, but I think with this guy's heart behind it and with what we have with Tron, it could go a great direction. So I'm excited for that, and I am completely behind the idea of Daft Punk doing the soundtrack again because, you know, they did the movie and then they had an album, and they've been quiet for 5 years, and I need more Daft Punk in my life, really.
7 years actually.
Seven?
7
Yeah.
years?
Yeah.
Jesus. That's crazy.
You're right. I thought it was 2015. Oh, man.
I guess I've just been listening to that album, and I didn't realize it was that old.
Oh, man.
That
If they would
wild.
go on tour sometime, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see them live.
Oh, also, I wanted to mention Morbius should have already been out in theaters, but
That's true.
because of everything, so that was going to be my big here's whether or not Jared Leto can really push it in the mainstream stuff, because he's been in some of I guess he was Joker, but that was cut back, and he's been in a couple other little roles in other movies, but well, I take that back. He was in Dallas Buyers Club, but I've never seen that. So
yeah,
we'll see. This is going to be my introduction to Jared Leto really being a mainstream actor and something I like.
Yeah, I agree. And I haven't seen Dallas Buyers Club either. That is the one that he won his Oscar for. But I know, he's always getting raved about as such a great actor. I watched him in Fight Club, and while controversial opinion, I hate that movie. He was solid. He did his part and he played it well. And I totally agree. Morbius is kind of the litmus test for me here. This is I'm pushing Joker aside and letting Morbius stand as this is his big break, big crazy comic book type sci-fi adventure movie, and that's what I want to see him in, and that's going to be his leading role and everything. So we'll really see how he does in that. It's official, you guys. We've got Tron 3 on the way. Are you excited?
Yes.
How do you feel about Leto starring in the role? Do you think we're going to see Kevin Flynn back and Jeff Bridges? Let us know all of that in the comments below. Now on to our next story here. It's an interesting one. It's kind of exciting and kind of confusing. I don't know. Obviously, we all know that COVID has affected the world and people's lives in a far more significant way beyond theaters shutting down, what that means for the movies, right? There's some serious shit going down. But on this show, we talk about the movies, so that's what we're talking about. And we've been talking a lot recently about theaters being closed and if they'll reopen, when they'll reopen, how are they going to reopen, and how all of that has affected studios. Up till just last week, we talked about Disney doing the unthinkable and moving Mulan off to Disney Plus, and are they going to do the same with Black Widow? And right, so it's been kind of a really interesting development. Now, I'm sure a lot of you got this notification this week because it popped up right on my phone because I've got the AMC app. But AMC has announced that they will be reopening their doors this Thursday on August 20th. So I'm just going to quickly browse through that article on the website here and talk to you about just sort of the things that they're implementing to make sure their reopening is as safe as it possibly can be. So the first thing they've got on here is they're requiring masks for everyone. You have to wear a mask on your way in, on your way out, in any of the hallways, in the lobby, or anything. Even the auditorium, they want you to, they're still requiring masks in the auditorium if you're not eating and drinking. So they're going to probably be walking around checking that out. They've got social distancing standards. So as you've probably seen in the different stores, they've got the little circles that are 6 feet away from each other while you're waiting in line for your concessions. Reduced auditorium capacities. They're reducing the capacity to 30% of the theater or less, depending on, how the seats fill up and everything. And it looks like, you can buy a couple seats with you and a friend or you and your spouse or something. And then the other ones are spread out further. It's really interesting how they're making that work. They're doing cashless transactions, so there's no cash here, at least not in the concession stand. There's no cash whatsoever. It's card or nothing else, and the employees aren't even touching the cards. They're simplifying their menus, so they're doing less food items, so less chances for that to spread that way. They've got hand sanitizer and disinfecting wipes all over the place. They've got, condiments and more available by request. So if you get a hot dog, you're not going to go to the ketchup stand and start squirting on ketchup by yourself. You're not doing butter by yourself. You're not getting your napkins by yourself. That's all handled by the employees behind the counter. They're taking away refills, so no one's messing with the Coke machine. Frequent hand washing. God, I would prefer if AMC employees wash their hands often anyway, but they've got that on here. And they're doing daily health screenings, so every single time an employee comes in, they get a health screen and a temp check. And they've got a ton of cleaning procedures with all this stuff and HEPA filters, and they're cleaning all of the seats and everything with disinfectant between every screening. And that's kind of it. Now, that is a lot. They're doing a lot of things. They're changing up a lot of stuff here to try to make this as safe as possible. First of all, I've got to say, I actually am super impressed with all this. It seems like they're really doing everything within their power to reduce the risk as much as possible here. But even with all of this, me, in my personal situation, the people I'm living with, I don't feel like I can get myself to go to the theater just yet. I haven't gone to restaurants or anything. I'm just trying to play it really safe. I in my situation, I just can't risk it yet. As much as I love the theater going experience and I want nothing more than to go see this as soon as possible, go to new movies and everything. That's what I want. I'm just not ready yet, even with all this stuff. Forrest, you've heard all of this. We've got movies like Tenet on the way, and I know you're very excited about New Mutants coming out soon. Have they done enough here to make you feel comfortable getting back to the theater, checking out these new movies?
Yeah, I'm not as worried about it as a lot of people. I know you've got your situation. I am not super high risk. I don't have anybody in my life that's really high risk outside of you, but I haven't seen you in a while in person. Yeah. It's nice to see that they are taking a lot of precautions so that people feel safe. Plus, it's probably a good idea to move a lot of that stuff behind the counter anyway, because it's always a mess and people are gross anyway before this whole thing happened.
It's so true.
Yeah. So the butter and the ketchup is just, it's gross anyway. So the refills, half the time I don't even get the size that you can get refills on. Mm-hmm. Concessions aren't a huge part of my movie going experience. Occasionally I'll jump into them, but yeah, pretty much just opening the theater would be enough for me, because I've been dying to go see movies. Yeah. And, I think they have 15-cent movie tickets coming out.
They're doing it on Thursday, just one 15-cent tickets. Yep. Cool.
And then I think on the 20th, or no, 23rd, the Saturday right after, I think they have $9 tickets. I think I saw somewhere.
That's awesome.
So it's pretty cheap. I don't know what movies are going to be out that they're going to be showing, but I'll take anything really at this point. And I'm going to be there in person for New Mutants, no matter what it takes, because I'm so ready. They're playing ads on YouTube and TV and everything again with new footage. So it's
they're ramping it up.
This is it. I think it's finally coming out.
Isn't that crazy? After all these years and 9 delays, it's going to be the movie that opens up theaters. That's pretty wild, isn't it? Yeah. Ian, how do you feel about all this? I mean, are you ready to get back to the theater? Are you excited to check out these new movies? What are you excited for? How do you feel about all this?
I'm excited to go back to movie theaters, because that's one thing I've just been missing, because there's an awesome theater just across town where I live, and it's been closed this entire time, and it sucks. But I see a lot of movie theaters showing old movies, blockbuster movies like Jurassic Park and Star Wars, to get their revenue back up, because I'm sure they've been hurting for a while.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure AMC is really banking on getting concessions, because I'm sure that's where they get a lot of their profit from.
That's where they get all of it from.
Yeah, because I'm sure a package of popcorn is probably 30 cents, and they charge you $20 for it. So if they ever show Dread in a movie theater, definitely go see it, because that is one movie that needs to be seen in a movie theater, and it did not get enough love when it released.
That's the remake one, right?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I never got a chance to see that, but if they showed it in theaters, that's my chance.
Yeah, I saw it in 3D, and it's mind-blowing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I never got a chance to watch it either.
Oh.
I know drive-in theaters have been kind of a big thing around here lately. I was thinking about going to one, but it's crazy trying to get into that kind of thing.
I bet.
But if they just open regular movie theaters again, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Maybe we have to watch Dread on Movie Mondays when that will make its return.
Yeah, when we can get our Movie Mondays back. That's right. That would be awesome. But for now, AMC theaters are opening back up. How are all of you feeling about it? Are you going to be first in line getting back to the theater? Or are you like me and you just kind of feel like you need to wait just a little bit longer? Let us know in the comments below. Now, let's get to our last story this week. And now, last week, Forrest and I, we talked about the Suicide Squad and the title treatment and DC Fandome and what we were hoping to see from it. Well, now this week, we have our full DC Fandome schedule, and we know what's going to be there. Now, they've got panels for shows and some games and stuff, too, which is really cool. You know, we're going to see the Suicide Squad game and some other game that they haven't announced yet. But this is the film episode. We're going to be talking about the major film panels that they announced here. So let's just get into it. These are the films that we are going to be seeing more from. We are seeing more from Wonder Woman 1984, Flash, The Suicide Squad, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Black Adam, Aquaman, Shazam, and The Batman. So all of this has me very, very, very excited. I'm mostly looking forward to The Suicide Squad and then probably Black Adam, just because it's been, 5 or 6 years since we just got the announcement of that movie. And then The Batman, because that is a huge, cool thing. It's not connected to the DCEU. You know, we're going to be getting that spin-off show and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to see what they've got to show from that. And I'd love to see more of Robert Pattinson in the Batsuit, Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Maybe we can see some of that. I'm really looking forward to that stuff. And I'm very, very curious to see how they handle the Flash panel, because this whole Ezra Miller situation that they've been kind of sweeping under the rug and hoping people forget about, they haven't addressed it in any capacity. That's going to be really interesting to see if they bring him out and stuff. They already had like a little clip that they put out promoting DC Fandome that had him introducing the clip. So I'm thinking they're going to bring him out, and I'm just curious to see if they keep trying to ignore it or if they address it. It's going to be very, very interesting. Ian, you've heard this lineup of all of these movies you're going to see. Which panels have you the most excited?
I'm really interested with the Black Adam thing. I recently just played through both of the Injustice games.
Nice.
And he seems like a very interesting character that I really don't know much about. But yeah, Black Adam and the Suicide Squad. That's like a remake, right?
It's technically it's a sequel, but
Okay.
we talk about we don't really think it's going to feel like a sequel because James Gunn has taken this over, and it feels like it's just its own thing.
Gotcha.
I bet they'll poke fun at I feel like we just did this kind of thing, because that's kind of his style.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. So Forrest, Ian's excited for Black Adam. There's 2 for Black Adam. I feel like knowing Forrest and knowing which actors he likes and dislikes, not going to be super stoked about Black Adam. But what panels have you the most excited?
I'm not a huge fan of The Rock. I feel like he plays the same character in every movie. But that aside, unrelated, I never even saw Shazam. I know.
Oh my gosh, really?
Crucify me. I know I'm terrible.
You would love that movie.
I probably.
It's a pretty fun movie.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll have to check it out soon. Of the list here, we also would have had Wonder Woman, I think, by now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I loved the first movie. My mom's a huge fan, so I'm totally in on 1984 just because it has an 80s vibe too, and that's kind of my thing. So that Flash, I don't know. I never saw Justice League in the first place either, so that's another one I should watch. But Flash seemed like the weakest part of all that. So
You're gonna get a punch to the head.
Well, I'll back him on that one. Honestly, Justice League was fine. It was I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I just kind of felt indifferent about it, which is more than I can say for most of the DCEU leading up to that movie. So that's all fine. But I did think Ezra Miller's Flash was the weakest part. I did not care for him in that movie. And we've talked about some of the crazy Flash stuff that's happening behind the scenes on this show already. I'm not even as curious about the movie as I am about the situation and if they're going to bring it up or if they're just going to ignore it and hope everyone forgets. And a lot of people have forgotten, but
You think they're gonna have an Easter egg in the movie of him choking someone?
God, I hope not. Oh, I hope not that tone deaf. Ooh, boy.
Wow, that would be just like
it was just Reverse Flash.
We're doing this. Yeah, it wasn't. Oh God. Yeah. No, I think we'll try to ignore it, but I'm sure somebody will like bring it up during the panel or something, and they'll have to address it in a way. So yeah, I think really Wonder Woman, and I think the Batman intrigues me. Just the teaser images that they had, his suit looks so good. But I'm also concerned because he said he wasn't following the training regimen. He doesn't care about getting ripped for it. And you're like, well, I mean, you kind of have to as Batman. Judgment aside, I'll reserve my final decision on it when I start seeing some information from it. But yeah, between Wonder Woman, the Batman, and of course the Suicide Squad, I'm interested in.
Yeah, I agree. I was not super thrilled when he made those comments. I was kind of like, you're getting paid, what, a couple $1 million to work out? And he's talking about, Zoe Kravitz is kicking ass. He was saying that he was talking to her and she's following it super strict and she's working out every day. I'm stoked to see her as Catwoman because I love her as an actress too. So I'm really hoping to see her from this panel, but just anything about that movie I am just fascinated by, especially because I haven't seen a lot of Robert Pattinson's movies outside of every single Twilight film because I somehow got roped into watching all those. I don't even remember when or why. But I watched every Twilight movie. Not great in those, but I've heard he's really good, and I'm excited to see what he's got. So,
yeah, what is that movie that The Lighthouse? I think with him and Willem Dafoe.
Yeah,
I want to see that because I feel like that's like a true testament to his acting ability.
Yeah, I agree. Just two guys in a room. that is a test if I ever seen one. So yeah, we're gonna have to check that out. So yeah, I mean that's kind of everything. I'm really excited about this. I'm excited to see what they've got, especially the Suicide Squad. They've got a bunch of the cast there. They've got James Gunn there and just talking about it. And hopefully we get a little bit of footage. But just seeing character artwork or anything is going to be enough for me because I am so fascinated with this movie, especially after just seeing that title treatment last week. And I was like, this is such a simple little thing, but it just already feels so different from the original. So I'm really excited about all of this. We're getting all these panels in less than a week. How about you guys? Which panels of these films have you the most excited? Let us know in the comments below. And that is a wrap on this week's Press to Play Rewind for the world of film this week. Forrest, thank you again for being here. It is always a pleasure, sir.
Yes, I appreciate you having me on, and I love doing these with you.
Me too. It's always a blast, and a blast from the past. Not that far, just a couple of weeks ago. But Ian was back here today. Ian, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
No problem. It's always fun doing this.
Always a good time. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give us a big thumbs up by hitting that like button. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to be the first to know when we upload a new video. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Press to Play OK. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye.